So I just got to remember not to do Rise and Shrine, because Rise and Shrine is broken. Which is a shame, but them's the breaks. So quite excited for Aftermath at this current point. I even watched the RoboCop movies ahead of playing the character, because I've never seen any of them before this, and I legitimately really like them. I was expecting them to be just more like Terminator, you know, just robot action, straight-faced stuff. Whereas Terminator actually is not really as big on its like commentary as RoboCop, and RoboCop seems to be very willing to lend itself to like dark humor and offer like some moments of pretty good levity. I definitely like the dark humor in RoboCop. It's a lot more clever than I originally gave it credit for. I thought, oh, it's just going to be one of those action movies and whatnot. I didn't think it would be bad for that, but, you know, I just thought it would be a lot more straight-faced. So when it turns out that it wasn't, I was pleasantly surprised. I did watch all 3 of the original trilogy. I don't know if there's more than 3, but I'm fairly sure there isn't. There's a TV series which I accidentally started watching instead of the movie, which was actually alright. From what I watched it looked like more of RoboCop 1. But, yeah, I definitely preferred RoboCop 3 to RoboCop 2. Don't know if I'm in the minority or what there, but I felt like 3 felt like, I think the problem was with 2 was that they kind of had a bit too much of the slapsticky stuff. Not to the point where it became like a parody shell of its former self, but I felt like maybe it could have done without the bit where he was a bit of an ass clown. I could tell what they were doing, and it was cleverer than what a lot of people would do with it. I'll give it that. It wasn't by any means particularly bad, but I just found the whole RoboCop turning into a PG-13 parody of himself, basically, to be a joke that went on a bit too long for me to properly enjoy it. But I still liked all of the movies. I'm not even going to dignify the 2014 one with a view anytime soon. But I hear it's really bad anyway. Do not press next round. If you do, you die. Yeah, I did have fun watching those films. And it's one thing I kind of like about Mortal Kombat. I know it's kind of just shamelessly hoping that people will play the game and then buy the films, but they're at least films and games worth buying and playing. As opposed to, like, I don't know, like when PlayStation All-Stars used to just have, like, all random PlayStation exclusives before they were even out, and then they were like, oh, look at these characters, they're gonna be beloved classics in a few years' time. Like, that Inversion, was it called Inversion? Or Starhawk? Or so, I can't remember what the fuck it was called. But that game did terribly, and my memory of it comes from PlayStation All-Stars, because I never played it. I own it, because I own pretty much everything at this point. Until somebody asks me, do you own this, then it turns out I don't. I don't know actually. If I was to say what I own off the top of my head, I'd probably miss half my library out, and probably fill that half with stuff I don't even own. So, that's where I'm at the moment. So I am getting a bit left in the dust here, which is a bit of a shame, but don't worry. See, this dick's got his shield up, which is, also I keep getting these fucking things and they're useless. If I get hit once, I'm basically fucked, but... yeah. Might as well take the gold. So I'm kind of torn between 3 games at the moment, curiosity's sake wise. I did bring up... did I just kill myself by accident? Yeah, I got 3 games. One's that pirate game that I really want to play, because that's quite fun. That was when I made my mind up I was making an episode, no matter what. I also did that with I Am Caligula, which is a god-awful incest novel on Steam made by a man who's not very well in the head. Not because of the incest stuff. I mean, you know, you can be perfectly sane and write stuff about incest and whatever. Just because you write about something doesn't mean you're necessarily practicing it. I mean, otherwise J.K. Rowling needs to be burnt at the fucking stake. But when it comes to this character, I legitimately think that through writing the character of Caligula, or maybe even before he started, he has become the character of Caligula to the point that he's fucking insane and probably shed have, because no normal human would have these qualities. He's just a very ill man. Anyone who follows Jim Sterling's probably heard of Leto. He spent a few years just bombarding him and several other people in his league with just drivel on Twitter to piss them off, and all he got was a vague mention in 2 videos, so hope it was worth it. But yeah, I was going to ignore how much of a prick Leto is, but admittedly, that became really difficult, because when I get to the end of Drusilla's Dreams, which is his visual novel spin-off, which he advertised as being the original game he got kickstarted, but then made it like a spin-off instead. Which, admittedly, the original game is a lot more impressive. It's an RPG Maker game that looks like it's had a fair few hours put into it. A lot of people seem to think that because RPG Maker's easy, that no effort goes into it. Really, its easiness means you can put more time into it. And I appreciate that with I Am Caligula. It's just that what he's made isn't very good. A lot of people have accused him of making it up as he goes along, and I legitimately get that impression, because it's a bit of a mess, not gonna lie. Not a big fan of the map either. It's got a huge sort of open worldy thing going on. I mean, it's not quite Ubisoft huge, but it's, you know, it's a pretty sizable map. But there's only like 2 buildings that are used in the story, if memory serves. And there's like 1 story that takes place outside of the city in Germany, I think it's the Germanic people, but I don't know if it's Germany or if it's like, I don't know. But anyway, that area is explorable for 1 mission, and the thing that baffles me is the fact that there's 3 other cities that, as far as I'm aware, unless it's like a path thing that I'm not aware of, like you have to make a certain choice or something, yeah, the other city doesn't seem to play into it. I think there's 4 actually, and none of them have any purpose for being there outside of that one you go to in Germany, which is a bit strange to me. I don't understand why. That was my own fault. I don't really understand why he bothered making it all, because honestly, the world in itself is not interesting enough for me to... Neither is the story interesting enough for me to want to explore the world of I Am Caligula. And, you know, I'm not... There are some games out there where if I'm interested enough in the setting or the story or something, I'm willing to explore a bit. Sometimes I like the story but don't care too much for the open world. Sometimes I like the story, do that first, and then dick around in the open world. Like in Far Cry 5, which I actually quite liked Far Cry 5. A lot of people didn't, but I did. Maybe... You see, my view on the Far Cry series is somewhat skewed on the basis that I hate Far Cry 2. So anything that's not Far Cry 2, yes please. Anything that is Far Cry 2, no. Please, fuck no, I don't want to go through that again. That was one of the worst experiences I've had playing a game. I might cover that for the show, but to tell you the truth, I am fucking dreading it. Because it'd take me hours upon hours to complete. I think it would take me longer to beat Far Cry 2 than it would be take me to play through all these games. That's basically where I'm at with Far Cry 2. It's just... Might be a bit better right now, actually, because I was a teenager when I played it, but Jesus Christ, it was fucking awful. I actually gave it to my friend as a Christmas present, and then like 6 months later he was like, oh, speaking of nothing happening, I played Far Cry 2, and I was like, that sums it up actually, that's a very fair assessment. I don't even mind that he shit on my Christmas present that I bought him like a twat. Nah, it's alright, I shit on people's Christmas presents that they buy me all the time. Well... Sort of. I mean, I'm always appreciative of the fact that someone bought me a present, but if someone buys me a movie and the movie's shit, I'm not going to refuse to say, you know, oh, the movie's shit. Doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. You know, sometimes I like a shit movie. My grandmother actually used to buy me a lot of shit movies. Not deliberately, she just bought whatever was in the shop at low price. Normally they were quite new releases for cheap, so, and often I never heard of them. There's one called Afflicted, which I've not got around to watching, which, looking on the IMDb reviews, it looks terrible. So I might cover that for my show. I actually do every, it's like June, make an episode of the show, usually in her memory, so I might tear that film apart in her memory. Again, I do appreciate when people buy me things. I don't break or trade in presents, ever. Like, you know, I've smashed games in my time, but I've not smashed a game that someone's bought me as a birthday or Christmas present, ever. Except for the Bratz copy that Loz bought me, but... To be fair, he smashed my copy of Tony... Well, he drowned my copy of Tony Hawk's. And we were basically adamant that that was probably going to happen at the end anyway. Unless these two shit games turned out to be good. Which, let's face it, wasn't going to happen. But aside from that, especially if a family member buys you a present, you know, you treat it with some respect, even if the product itself is shit. Because, you know, I legitimately care about that sort of thing. When I was a little kid, my grandma used to buy me Pokemon cards. I used to love painting nail varnish on them to make them into bootleg shinies. And one day I was tracing one with a marker to make the character stand out a bit, and I fucked it up and I felt so bad afterwards. I got frustrated and like scribbled over the character and everything, and my dad was really not impressed, and I wasn't either, to be honest. I really shouldn't have fucking done that. You know that I'm a stable human being when I'm still regretting shit I did at 6 years old, but I think that was like a bit of a lesson for me, really, that sort of stuck for all these years. God, I got 75 there because I wasn't paying attention. That's the thing about me when I don't pay attention. Sometimes it damns me, sometimes it makes me the best player in the universe. In fact, if I could go through like a Mortal Kombat or Tekken tournament, right, against the world's greatest players, if I wasn't paying attention, I'd win that tournament, but then not realise I'd won it and just wander off, not taking the prize money or anything. I'd just wander off and just go home and forget why I was there. So that would be the double-edged sword there. But yeah, I can't really remember if I ever got... There was... I mean, I've technically only had one game gifted for the show. That's one thing as well about my girlfriend. She buys me a lot of games every now and then. Not every week or anything, but sometimes if I can't afford a new release because, you know, well, actually that only happened once. It was because basically I was in between promotions and for one reason or another, it's a lot of internal bollocks that's difficult to explain. But basically I didn't get paid for like 2 months and then got a huge pay out like after 2 months, so that was fun. But Mortal Kombat 11 came out during that time, and it was quite nice when she was just like, "Oh, you should have just said, here's some money for it." I think the same happened with that Elder Scrolls expansion that came out last year as well for Elder Scrolls Online. I think that was around that time, if I remember right. Or maybe I was just being a good little boy with my budget, I can't remember. Oh, that was it. No, I was holding out for hope that there would be a collector's edition that was a physical collector's edition. Turns out it didn't happen with that expansion. No idea why. But there is one for Greymore, which has a vampire statue and some really, really nice coins. Very high quality coins that I quite like. The box for that thing, however, was a bitch to get into. I followed the instructions to the letter, and it was still a bitch to fathom. And in the end, we just got a pair of scissors and destroyed the thing. But yeah, I got 7 minutes before Aftermath comes out. I think that's enough time for a couple of these. I mean, I don't have to do them in order anymore because, well, you know, I've done everything.
Wat je nou keurig hebt,